All right, so today we have an incredibly talented guest.
Oh.
Many of you know her from projects such as The Walking Dead, Star Wars Ahsoka, DC's Swamp Thing, All the Queen's Men, and many, many more. You're probably like, you're forgetting so many things.
That's good.
But today in our studio, we have Jeryl Prescott. Let's give it up.
Yes. Hi. Thank you so much. You're very kind. Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
So you're coming from like the LA area,
and
we're in Kansas City,
right?
And it is quite the temperature difference.
Yes, and we have just experienced all of the fires. So a lot of people in LA have heavy hearts and or feel displaced or feel just a lot of empathy for those who are displaced. So we're sending up big prayers of support and resilience, to everyone there. And we know that there's a community, people think of LA as a huge place, but really I always think of it as a small town masquerading as a big city. So there's a lot of closeness there. And I just hope we'll continue to remember each other and help each other as we get through this.
Yeah.
So we are really, really excited to have you here.
Thank you.
We appreciate it. We just kind of wanted to pick your brain on just your story and like how it was becoming an actress. Because I know a lot of people, especially in LA, that's like a dream of theirs.
Yeah.
And you were able to achieve that. So it's just something to just pick your brain and, it's exciting.
Yeah.
Very cool. This one's over here like, Star Wars.
I think a lot of guys, they're thinking like, I'm going to be in the NBA, I'm going to be in the NFL. I think a lot of, maybe I'm speaking for women, but they're like, I want to be an actress. Like, and you did it. That is incredible. So just kind of like how that started and maybe what got you even interested in the first place? What inspired you?
To build on the theme of community, as we were talking about with LA, I think it has to do with community for me, for sure. I started in North Carolina, where I developed a lot of relationships with people in the community by doing theater. I did some regional theater and community theater in the summers. And so I got to know some of the best directors in town. Wow. And a couple of the teachers from the North Carolina School of the Arts who were teaching acting were also my directors. So I got a lot of free lessons from people like Clee Thompson and Larry Leon Hamlin, who is known as the creator of the National Black Theater Festival. Wow. And Nathan Ross Freeman, who is also an award-winning writer, director. So I had a lot of free instructions from people in my community, and that really got me started. And then I guess the other thing that happened is the father of my children, who is Leander Sales, he worked for Spike Lee for quite a number of years. He worked on about 8 or 10 of Spike's films, and he came to North Carolina to teach at the North Carolina School of the Arts. And when he came to one of my plays, he's the one who said to me, we were dating at the time. He just said, hey, you're pretty good. You should take it more seriously. Because I was just doing it for fun and really loving the community of theater folks. Yeah. And when he said that, I took his advice and got an agent, and then things started to happen. Wow. So, I very much credit him with taking me to the more professional side of things. But I have always found that there's a community around actors that I love, and it's something that has kept me lifted during the tough times, because everybody know acting is a hustle too. And
you have to be okay with hearing a lot of no's.
A lot of no's, a lot of waiting.
I'm crying the first time and I'm out. That's it.
And you have no control. Yeah, oh. And they're not kind. Sometimes they're not kind.
They're actually just not kind. Bold in audition straight out.
Oh yeah. And when I told my North Carolina folk that I was going to move to LA and try it, they were like, "Oh, there are 1,000 Jeryls in LA, you know, you're probably going to be more successful here, you know, the smaller.
But there's only one Jeryl Prescott.
Right. Okay. Hello. Yeah. And then, of course, getting here, I was older than everybody else. I had kids. You know, it was a totally different kind of thing. And so, yeah, jumping into it was a challenge in many ways. But I always say it's a series of small miracles that allow it to keep happening. Yeah.
That's incredible to hear. Was there a specific moment, like kind of like affirmations, like while you're acting or whenever you're with an agent or during like a practice recital, anything that you were like, this is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing in my life? Like, when was that like really clicking, like in that moment? Like, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is what I'm called to do.
Yeah. You know, I'm thank God, constantly getting those moments. I'll go backwards. Like most recently, my husband now, Melvin Gallion, is a well-known barber.
Shout out to you,
And
Mel.
yes, hi, Mel.
I think he was my last haircut.
Yes,
Actually.
yes,
Best
he's a great
haircut in
barber.
LA.
I'm telling you,
Best
he's the
haircut
best
in LA.
best haircut in LA. Priceless too. And he works for he has cut, you know, athletes and actors, etc. And he happened to be the barber for Jay Farrow, who is known for his voices. You know, he can do all the wonderful imitations of everyone, really the top notch that I've seen in LA. And he had gotten a film called Resort to Love. It's on Netflix. And then, like, next thing you know, I get an audition for this film. And then I'm playing his mother. And it's like, oh, you know,
I loved that scene.
And Jay
It was
didn't even
so
know. He didn't even know that he knew that I was an actor, but he wasn't familiar with any of my work really. And it just one day when I got the audition, I didn't know that he would be the son. And when I finally booked it, I found out that the two sons were Jay, who comes to my house every couple of weeks to get his hair cut, and Sinqua Walls, who was one of the first actors I met and got to know when I came to LA 10 years ago.
And so you didn't even know they were going to be on.
I didn't know they don't know each other, but I know both of them. And, you know, to me, that's like affirmation right there, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so to step into that, you know, most recently, you know, all the way back to getting The Walking Dead, and having the Finn Cannons, who are the casting folks for that, send me that audition as my first audition when I moved to LA. I was in LA at that
The
time
Walking Dead was your first audition?
when I moved in LA. Wow. Yeah, and they're from North Carolina.
That is amazing.
Yeah, and they sent it. They said, Jeryl, can you put this on tape for us? You know, we know you're not in North Carolina anymore, but can you send us a video? You know, these scenes. And I said, okay. And I was like, this is weird, but okay.
Because tape auditions weren't that.
They weren't very popular
major
back
at
then.
the time,
They were
like they
not
are now.
popular back then.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I guess to that point, how have you adjusted with like just times changing and technology and how you rehearse? Or
Oh my God.
how has it been?
It is to me, it's a challenge.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's a challenge because I'm not easy with the tech stuff. I'm not real easy with it, but I've grown with it a lot.
And sometimes, like in person, you can really feel it.
Yeah,
it's hard
exactly.
to like show that in person.
Yeah.
that
I've
must have been
I've grown a bit. And I'm still not good with Zoom. Like, I'd rather tape it.
Oh, I don't think anybody's good with Zoom.
I'm
Let's
nobody's
be
good with Zoom.
Let's be honest.
I'm not good with
Turn
Zoom.
your mic on. Come on.
I'm not
Can
good
you
with
see
Zoom.
me?
Yeah.
Yes.
I know.
We're looking
I
right
know.
at you.
And where should my eye line be? Am I creating a world here that is demanding my eye line, or am I looking into the Zoom camera so you guys can see my eyes?
think of that. I did not think
It's
of
a
that.
pain. So I'm really reluctant to do Zoom auditions these days. I'd much rather just put myself on tape with a reader. But yeah, it's been an adjustment.
Well, I can say we were kind of brushing up on Jeryl Prescott projects the other night, and you were on Resort to Love.
Oh yeah.
Playing Naomi King. Is
Yeah.
that correct?
Yeah.
And I was looking at Lauren like, man, like she's really acting. Like she is kind of mean in this. Like in person, she is so nice. Like, do you have a hard time transforming? Because you're so sweet. I'm sure everybody
thank
can
you.
see like
Very kind.
you're glowing, right?
Oh, thank
and do you have a hard time like playing someone that's like a mean person.
No, she's in there.
Yeah.
She is in there.
That's what I told him. I said, "Oh, we can go there."
She's just screaming to get out. She's like, "Let me
You're
out
like,
of
finally,
here."
I can.
Exactly.
You guys want me to be mean?
Got it.
Let me out.
So I can see myself if I was an actor getting home and maybe we get in a little tiff.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, babe, I'm sorry. I was just being Naomi King.
Yeah.
But do you ever find yourself like,
you forgive me, please?
yeah.
No, but I do get accused by someone I know
Getting
of
lost in your
acting
role.
sometimes.
Okay.
Of acting sometimes when I'm genuinely hurt or sensitive about something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get accused of manipulating emotions because I supposedly have that ability.
Right.
But it's not true. I don't use it at home. I try not to use it at home.
So,
But yeah.
out of all the projects that you've done, which one was your favorite?
Ooh. Yeah, I've been so blessed, right? I've been
Right.
so blessed
Yes.
to come to this industry as a woman of over 40, moved to LA kind of already over 40, and to
Woman
be
of
a
color,
part of
all that.
historic work. Yeah, a woman of color.
Historic work.
A woman of color who doesn't even fit the typical, supposed the things that they want and like,
Right.
and to step into Walking Dead and Star Wars and DC and all of that. Yeah, it's been incredible.
I can't even get a McDonald's commercial, y'all.
Yeah. And I can't. I mean, I just don't have a favorite. I have enjoyed every freaking second of it. From the my first soap opera that I did recently, where I was a judge on General Hospital, to like the first time I was on Criminal Minds and had maybe 2 or 3 lines, that kind of thing. So all of that, just
oh my goodness,
it's just-
I knelt on that set.
I just love it.
insane.
Yeah. I've been so fortunate. There's nothing that I have disliked. Let's see.
You've
what
never
about-
ran into like divas. You don't have to say who, but like where you're like, oh wow, you're really feeling your position these days.
No, you know what? The biggest divas are so sweet. Like Eva on
oh yes,
All the Queen's Men.
All the Queen's Men.
Oh,
yeah.
her character is such a badass,
Yeah.
right? And she's such a, in the model world, people accuse the women of being catty and all that. She was
a
just
doll.
such a sweetheart the whole time. What a lovely lady. I mean,
Yeah.
she can get annoyed by things, and she's working at a breakneck pace. I'm sure you all have heard that. Tyler shows don't waste any time, so it's
you're filming.
They all
filming.
move fast, so
Yeah.
she's under a lot of pressure. But oh my God, she's wonderful.
Yeah.
She's wonderful, and that's what I can say about most of the people. Sincerely, who I've worked with, they've been wonderful.
amazing.
Which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So you have mentioned Walking Dead quite a few times. Doing a little research, and
Yeah.
I did notice, tragically, in episode 6,
Yeah.
spoiler alert,
Yeah.
your character may or may not have died.
Maybe
Yeah.
not have died.
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
on camera, so we
Yeah.
can't confirm. You
And
might
there's a
come
big
back.
boom.
Um, I think
Explosion.
as someone like a fan of film and movies, you see all these movies and TV shows behind
This
us
is
here.
all him, not me.
Wow.
I think we sometimes joke around of like, getting that script and you realize this is my last episode. They're killing me off. What is that process? Is it really all kind of a joke as fans, or
You know
like,
what-
do you know what's
ahead
coming?
of time?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. No, you know what? I was hired to do one.
Oh, wow.
And when I was hired, I thought it was going to be one episode, and my agent thought it was going to be one. And Frank Darabont knew that he wanted more from the character, but I guess they just wanted to be sure that it was going to work, and that it was going to work with me, kind of thing. It was going to be okay. And so then, and they really just said, well, let's do one more, and then let's do one more. So that it turned into 6 from one. Was already, just a great surprise.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
super cool. I
It
even
was-
saw
yeah.
you're an action figure
Yeah.
for The Walking Dead. I don't know if you saw that.
Yeah,
That is pretty
funny.
cool.
Yeah, it is fun. It's fun. We're hoping for what are those things called?
The Funko Pop.
Yeah, we're hoping
Oh,
for
yeah.
that for Ahsoka for the
Oh, yeah.
for the Night Sisters. We're hoping that happens. We'll see. And I've seen a couple that were put together sort of by fans. You know, I don't know. I guess they created them themselves. People create them and they bring them to be signed at different conventions that we do. Yeah. So I've seen them before, but we'll see if they really roll out. But that was a surprise to all of us. And it went through some iterations. Like there was a time when the character who plays Lori, she and I and Frank had a conversation about the possibility that she too would decide, that she was going to stay, right? And that became part of the script. It wasn't initially that she was going to, leave the group and stay with me, and we'd all, make that decision together, kind of thing. So we went through a few versions of it, but it was it's fantastic to see what the show has become. That's amazing. It's who wouldn't want to go on that 20-year ride, of course.
Incredible.
But I was just so grateful to have what I had, that it didn't really, it wasn't a big deal for me at that time.
And you mentioned some of the, thanks for sharing all that. You mentioned like fans bringing stuff to be signed. What kind of events have you been at? Could we find you at?
Well, I have some stuff coming up this year. Let's see, I believe something in Boston is happening. And we even have something in Germany coming. That'll be my first international fan fest. But there were the years when we were doing all of the Walker Stalker cons, what they called Walker Stalker cons. And it was just all Walking Dead fans. And that was really wild. And it was a wonderful way to stay a part of that community. We get back to community. Because there are fans who hit me up from time to time, if they're rewatching or if they're new to the show or whatever, and people just, they really love the show. So we have a great group of fans, and they come to these conventions everywhere. I've been everywhere. I've been to Chicago and Atlanta and Detroit and just really Texas, everywhere, almost probably at least 30 states, those kind of conventions. And then we have the ones that are coming and that are still going on. Most recently, what is that one called? The one I just did. It was more of a horror fest.
Okay, yeah.
When they tap into
like a horror con.
Yeah, those horror cons tap into. So then the Star Wars events are new to me. Yeah. So these are new.
Oh, and those fans, they are fans. They're fanatics.
Great fans, right? It's fantastic. And really, when I was most recently in Buffalo, I was in Buffalo, New York for one of the horror things, and there was a Star Wars group that welcomed me with something very ceremonial. Like there were about 20 of them who showed up at my booth, wow. And they brought me gifts, lovely things, so sweet. And they inducted me basically into their fan group.
Gotta chill.
It was a lot.
That is,
wow.
It was fantastic. And it was just, it's such, like I said, it's just such an honor to be bestowed with all of that acceptance all at once,
To be a part of that franchise is
and I'm like,
really epic.
And I'm like, man, I need to do, I'm constantly doing my homework on the Star Wars experience, because I don't even know it all that deeply.
It's huge.
And so I think you could sit down for months and just research.
I could spend the rest of my life getting to know more about it. And I learned a lot from my boys when I first got the role, because they are into Star Wars. And so they told me that I needed to do Clone Wars, of course, and et cetera. So they gave me a list of things that we watched together, and it was fascinating and fabulous and wonderful. But that was just the tip of the iceberg, really. Yeah. And so there's still more that I'm learning more about all the time.
That's so funny. As you are getting like the ceremony of gifts showered upon you, is there ever that moment when you get home, it's like the reality check of like, I have sons, and they're not going to ceremonially give me gifts every day?
Exactly.
How is that reality of like flipping it on and off, like fans and then my life? Is that kind of hard to?
Yeah, it is interesting, because when they were kind of little and growing up, and really through high school, they were like, whatever, Mom, whatever. But now that they're older, I think they look back and they can see, there was something different going on there that they appreciate very deeply. For example, my oldest, Coleman, he's about 21.
Is he?
Yeah, he's 21.
20. one.
Yeah, and graduating from college in May. He'll graduate. Yeah.
I remember when you were a baby.
I know. He
Man.
was just
that
a
means
little
I'm old.
little
I don't like that.
Little Coley.
Anyways.
I know. He told me, Mom, I remember when I got Swamp Thing, and the DC office has a library of materials, books, the comic books, hardback books, encyclopedias. You go to the store and you see
so much homework,
all that stuff. and they invited me over, and I brought the boys, and then they let the boys just go into the library and take whatever they wanted. Wow. And Cole is a voracious reader of anything related to heroes, Star Wars heroes, DC heroes, Marvel heroes. Yeah. He already has several of the encyclopedias, but they left out of there with like a cardboard box full of books and stuff. And on the day, and they took pictures with all of it and everything. On the day, they were like, very cool and collected, and they were like, "Oh, this is nice. Thank you, sir." This and that. They were like, "Oh, thank you. Oh, this is cool. This is nice." But now, Cole was just telling me, like over the Christmas break, when I think back on that, I was like, whoa, we got all of this amazing DC material, and he still reads the books, and so it's really extraordinary for them now when they look back on it. At the time, I think it was just Mama's gone. Where's Mom? Mama's in North Carolina, for 6 weeks, or and that was it. It was just Mama's gone, Mama's here, and they said, where are you going? Well, that kind of thing. And all kids, I think, deal with that, with actors. They have to have those times when Mom is away. Yeah. But I was lucky in that my son's best friend, Darby, his mom had more of a corporate job, but she also traveled a lot. Mm-hmm. And so she was away a lot too. So there was a sense of it being normal among his closest friends, and his other really close friend, his father was a director, so he was gone from time to time. So they developed, again, another community that allowed them to kind of deal with that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
As far as Star Wars, what was the character that you played on that, and what was the process for all of that makeup and everything that they had to do? Like, how often did you have to sit in the chair and become that?
Yeah.
Was it an everyday thing?
Yeah.
Like, what was the process for that?
Yeah. My character is one of the Night Sisters, and the 3 Night Sisters had only been seen in animation before, so they had never been, like real life characters. So it was a whole process of figuring out what that might look like. So we were involved in the design of costumes, and they brought us in to do some measuring of us for all that stuff and figure that out. And then they actually did a mold of our faces.
Wow. I don't know. Had you done that before?
I had done one, I think, for Star Wars. I mean, not Star Wars, for Swamp Thing.
Okay.
I had done one. But it was a little different, what they did. And so they did a mold. And then we did the testing of the makeup, to make sure that we weren't allergic to any of the stuff they wanted to use and all that. And they sort of had to figure that out with regard to even the coloring, right? Yeah. Because these women are 1,000 years old. Mm-hmm. And a 1,000-year-old woman, she's going to have... some
quite gray.
Yeah, quite a lot of gray in there, maybe. I don't know. A lot of wrinkly gray stuff. I don't know. But they came up with something that was, that worked. And so those people are, they're Emmy winners. Yeah. And when you're surrounded by folks like that, you just kind of surrender to the process. They know exactly what they're doing. And they won Emmys for Ahsoka as well. The makeup and the costuming.
And how long would... Like, say you sit down and they're doing the makeup, how long are you sitting there?
Yeah, it was hours each day. Probably, we got it down to about two hours, yeah. When we first started, it might have been a little more. But, yeah, we got it down to maybe 90 minutes to 2 hours. And so, but it was pretty painless because, the people in makeup were fun. And they knew that we all wanted it to be a comfortable process. So yeah, we were able to. We found out a lot about each other. Each other's families, what was going on, and so that was fun.
Whether makeup artists, nail artists, they know their therapists.
They know the scoop. Exactly.
Every girl knows that. You're telling everything. Was the takedown process kind of like challenging to take it all off?
Yeah. Well, a little bit, because there were some prosthetics as well as just the makeup part. So yeah, there was something with that. It's like getting a facial every day, basically, because by the time they do your hot cloths and then whatever they use to loosen the prosthetics, the oils or whatever that they put around that, and then they clean you up really good. It's like getting a good facial every day.
Asleep.
Yeah.
Let's get this going.
Yeah. Depending on what we had done that day. Yeah. It's really like getting a facial every day.
And as far as like the rehearsing the lines, memorizing it, what is kind of your, I don't know, maybe for someone that's listening and they want to become an actor, what techniques do you use to like memorize something to really get into that character?
Oh, that's such a good question. Because for some reason, now that I'm older, it's so much harder than it used to be. It used to be so easy for me. I could inhale, like when I was doing theater, a whole script and 1 week of work on like a 120-page script. I know it all. No problem.
No.
Not these days. It takes so much work for
me.
These
Once
days.
it's in, it's out.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh my God.
From one day to the next. That is a challenge, you guys.
It's a lot now. It's a lot. And so I depend on my children again. I make them run lines with me. And I have friends who are actors who run lines with me, and I run lines with them all the time. In fact, since I've been here, I've had a friend hit me up and say, hey, can you read with me tonight? I said, I'm out of town, but I'll get you Tuesday. Let's do it Tuesday.
Is it different than like commercials and stuff? Like, do they actually have people standing on the side, like with a sign with the lines on it? Or is it
in theatrical stuff? No.
Or just in TV commercial movies? Are there people on the side with the lines?
Well, that can happen, but that doesn't happen 99%.
Is it frowned upon? Like,
I would think so. Yeah, I think it is frowned upon. I have to tell you that. Okay, like how many times have I been on sets? A lot of times. I have like 70 some credits.
Yeah.
I have never had anybody holding anything or anything like that. Except once. Yeah. So.
Oh, they would hate me. It's every time. 3 and 4 people just have them going in the row.
She's writing it on her hands like back in high school.
A mess.
Once.
This is why I couldn't. I've wanted to, but I already knew.
Yeah.
I couldn't memorize.
You could do it.
And then by the time I'm memorizing it,
you could do it.
We are here. I'm forgetting that you need to actually act it out.
Yeah,
so
that's
a lot.
So that's what you have to do. It has to be a part of your body. When seriously, when you work on a character, you want to make it so that those words are so naturally a part of who you think that character is that it comes to you naturally. It just comes. It rides. Like I was Meisner trained, and in that way, the words ride the emotion. Mm-hmm. So you just bring the emotion and just say the words. Yeah. You don't try to do anything with them, because if you're in the right emotional space, they come out in the right way. And so that can only happen after, you can dream about it. You can dream about the script. When you get to that point, then,
and something with like, say for instance, Star Wars Ahsoka, I'd imagine like a lot of the background isn't actually there.
Exactly.
Is it really difficult to, I can't even imagine trying to get into character and there's green screens, or there's just a black void behind you. Is that more difficult than when there's more props involved?
Yeah, it is. That's when you lean on the community again, like the ladies and I together.
Like, we're here. We gotta figure this out.
Yeah.
There's nothing here.
Exactly. Let's do it. Let's connect to each other, and try not to be. Let's connect to the conflict that's happening right now. Where are we coming from, and where are we trying to get to? And how hard is it going to be to do that? I've just
heard
focusing
that
on that.
A lot of actors, actresses, they struggle to cry. Have you seen anyone do methods of, special teardrops, or is that just like a myth that everybody thinks they're just like adding something and then crying? Are people just
do
going
add things
for
sometimes. People do add things sometimes to their eyes to cry, for sure. You can request that, and mostly nobody looks down on you for it if you do that. It's always good if you can find that emotional space. But I'll tell you one thing that I've learned, and I learned this too from my Meisner teacher: if you ever tell anybody what works for you, what brings the emotion there for you,
It will never
work again. Yeah. Wow. So if you have your what's in your pocketbook, you should have those emotions in there, not just the sadness or the tears, but the anger, the love, the everything, all of them.
It has to be just kind of to you, so you can always call upon it.
Yeah, and
for me, it's the McDonald's ice cream is we're closed today. You tell me that it's coming.
It's real.
And
it's real, exactly. Yeah. And the other thing that actors should know, I have to tell you, is that it's rare, honestly, that directors want you to cry. Really? It is rare. It is rare because I guess
we have to reshoot. Now you're looking.
Well, no. It's just that I think a lot of people live with this assumption, which is in many ways very accurate, that mostly we try in front of other people not to cry. We're often trying to not cry, in front of people. And it's maybe, those moments like the phenomenal Viola Davis, those moments when you leave the people you were around and you close your bedroom door and you're in there by yourself when you're fully naked, vulnerable, and then you cry or whatever. You can feel it. You have your tantrum, you throw things and all that stuff. But often when you're in front of people, you're fighting not to. And that becomes more interesting to watch on screen.
Yeah, where you can tell they want to,
they
but
want
holding
to,
that
but
back.
I think for me, she mentioned the food making her. I think for me, they just have a Chiefs game on in the background, and I'm throwing all type of tantrums.
What
and
are they doing? Oh my God!
The emotions they bring me to, it's unreal. We were watching the game yesterday, I think it was, and she knew I was all nervous because I was up, I was down, I was laying down, I was doing jumping jacks, everything you could imagine.
He starts to move around a lot, and I'm like, this is not going well.
But that is one thing that has drawn me to you. You are a Chiefs fan, and I knew right then you're a great person.
My husband is the real Chiefs fan. I have to say, he's the real Chiefs fan. He's been the Chiefs fan for 30 years, long before it became, the thing to be.
Oh yeah.
And
when he was giving me a haircut, he was taking his time and he was pointing out things around the room like, look at this, I got this picture here, I got this over here.
Yeah. And the first Super Bowl, we got in trouble because he was running up and down and running around, and people were like, what is all that noise? What is happening? Like, my husband's just excited about the Super Bowl. I'm so sorry. He's making a lot of noise. He was, yelling and screaming. Yeah. So that's real emotion. In fact, and that's the other thing regarding actors and advice for actors, which I always hesitate to give, but I'm just saying the people around you are, they're there for you to study. So sometimes when I want to be passionate about something, I think about my husband. Yeah, I'll just be my husband, because he is so passionate about many things, but definitely about the Chiefs. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I think we'll maybe kind of start to wrap things up.
Okay. Actually, you know what? I have a couple of rapid fire questions. You know me, you guys.
Okay.
They're random.
Let's do it.
Nothing about acting.
Rapid fire.
All right. Cats or dogs?
Cats, because I've heard you can leave them alone. I don't really want a pet at all.
Same. But, I keep saying the same thing. Yeah. It's just a newborn.
Yeah. But my sons tell me that I could have a cat and leave food and the cat will be fine.
They do their own thing.
Yeah.
Cats do their own thing. Okay. Coffee or tea?
Coffee. Right? Strong coffee.
Just strong.
What's the point of tea?
We've got things going on. We're tired. Make it strong.
Exactly.
Are you an early bird or a night owl?
Night owl.
Same. The morning, you guys got to stop with this.
Yeah.
Let's all agree and wake up at 10.
Yeah.
Drinking the coffee at night.
Oh, so wonderful.
Sweet or savory? Or just does it depend on the time of day?
I have to say savory is my favorite. If I find the right savory stuff. Yeah, my husband is a true sweetaholic. And so I'm not nearly as into sweets as he is. So I must be.
Yeah, I've heard that savory. A lot that couples will be the opposite of food. That's how we are.
I am absolutely the complete polar opposite. She loves the sweets. Give me all the salt you can give me.
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
Okay, that's kind of me too. Sorry.
What is the best piece of advice that you feel you've ever received? Or one of, not the best, if you know, because I'm sure you've received a lot.
Yeah. The best advice probably is if you don't like your life, change it. That there's no reason to sit in a life that is not fulfilling to you. So, and you have that power. You have the power to change your life if you don't like it.
You hear that, y'all?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You've got the power.
Mm-hmm.
I do have one other question.
Yes.
We can just throw it in there. What were some of your favorite TV shows growing up?
Yeah. Oh, wow. That's so funny. Because I was just talking to a girlfriend about that. She was like, wow, that's funny. I used to watch and fall on the floor, rolling, laughing. I Love Lucy.
Okay. Yeah.
I was such an I Love Lucy fan. Watched so much I Love Lucy. It was ridiculous. I've seen all.
Was Dick Van Dyke on that show as well, or no?
No. This was the original, like Lucy and Ricky Ricardo and those people. Now, I did eventually start watching Dick Van Dyke. I watched Dick Van Dyke. I watched Carol Burnett. I was into these funny women. I love funny, and I don't do a lot of comedy. It's so funny. I was into these funny women, and I even wrote to them when I was little.
Wow.
And, telling them that I loved them and they were funny and I wanted to be funny like them and all that stuff. And they sent me pictures and stuff. I wish I kept all that stuff.
So cool.
But they were so, it was just sweet. I guess, I don't know if they had their press people. I'm sure they did. The studios were sending out stuff all the time. So yeah, I used to love those. And then, I love the Jeffersons and All in the Family. I remember when I transitioned to that. That's by the time I was, like junior high or something when I started watching stuff like that. And then that led me to, all the Good Times and Different Strokes is when I went to college. The Cosby Show and Different Strokes, I fell in love with right before I went to college. And so, that was sort of my transition. And it's interesting to look at it, like Dick Van Dyke is 99 now, or just turned 100. Did he just turn 100?
Yeah, I don't know how it came up, but I came across how old he was, and he's still going.
Yeah.
I think he was in a music video actually with U2 maybe or Coldplay.
He just did a music video, and it's so nostalgic for me because I saw him on Jimmy Kimmel or something. Wow. And I was like, oh, Dick Van Dyke. He's from my childhood. Him and Mary Tyler Moore, So I definitely, was into all those shows, and I thought they were hilarious. And I was like, Mom, you gotta watch Dick Van Dyke. You gotta watch Lucy. It's so funny. Lucy's eating candy. She's eating, her mouth is so big. She's eating all the candy. And yeah, it was just so funny to me. I just love that stuff.
That's awesome.
Thanks for sharing. That's cool. It's cool to see like kind of what shaped and molded you as you were growing up.
Yeah. I guess that all made me feel like, this is what women do. Women do funny things on TV. So it felt good.
Well, we really, really, really appreciate you coming on here and, talking with us.
Yes.
I mean, you've known me since I was a little girl.
I know.
So it's just crazy to, be older and have a good conversation.
Yes, I love it.
Thanks for coming to our wedding
Thank you.
all of that.
Oh, it was a joy and a pleasure to celebrate you.
Your
too.
boys are
really
so
fabulous.
big now. It's insane.
Oh, thank you.
So wild.
I know. Time goes so fast.
So fast.
Oh my gosh. So cherish it. And it's something that they're so easy to take so many things for granted. But I appreciate my relationship with you and your family and how you've been a part of making my boys into the young men that they've become. And they speak of you often as, teaching them to be kind to other people. The time they spent with all the kids in the house taught them so much about compassion and all that. So that's so important. So, I love you all very much. And I wish you the best. And I can't wait to come back to Kansas City. I'm coming back.
Hey, when it's hot.
I was going to say also, hopefully, Super Bowl parade, 3 in a row.
When it's warm.
Let's bring you back then.
Ooh, that's going to be hot.
Bring your husband. He'll be going crazy.
Oh my God. I can't imagine. He's going to be so excited.
It'd be a mess.
It's going to be so excited. He's going to be so excited. I know. I don't even need to go. I think I should just send him and let him go. Go on without me, dear.
Well, again, that was Jeryl Prescott. Thank you so much for joining us, and we will see you all next week. Thank you.
Thank you.